Hello and welcome to Comedy in a Nutshell. I'm your host Mark Ducano, and each episode I sit down with stand-up sketch artists and comedy legends to talk about what comedy really means to them. From their first gig to finding their voice on stage, we explore the highs, the bombs, the breakthroughs, and how they'd sum up a lifetime of laughs in a nutshell. I'm the comedy nerd who's seen more than 2,000 different comedians perform live comedy, and you can find out more about my journey in comedy fandom on my website, thecomedynerd.com. Please also take a moment to like, subscribe, rate, review, and share the podcast. Thank you. My guest this episode almost needs no introduction, and yet here we are. He started out as a street performer before becoming one of comedy's most thoughtful voices. A master of stand-up and a powerhouse of podcasting, he's the mind behind the Comedian's Comedian podcast, where he spent years exploring how funny gets made. It's comedian Stuart Goldsmith. Why don't we start all the way back at the beginning? When you were growing up, did you think that comedy was a big influence on you back then?
Yes. I hated school, and I vividly remember listening to a Lenny Henry cassette tape on a school trip where I felt very friendless and alone, and I wore it out and listened to it over and over again. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah. How did that sort of transpire into making you want to be a performer and a comedian in your own right?
How did that transfer? I mean, that's the story of my life, really. I suppose. How did that transpire? How did that sort of transform into wanting to do comedy? I think, I worry that I'm absolutely basic here, but I felt very lonely and uncomfortable at school. And if I made people laugh, I felt good. Yeah. I mean, it really is as easy as that.
Yeah.
You know, I've spoken to getting on for 500 comics on my own comedy podcast and asked them these questions. And I think that, there is definitely there's a thing that comes up from time to time, which is that people are the second funniest person in their class.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and the funniest person in their class goes on to become someone with a real job and thinks nothing of it. And the person that goes on to become the comedian is the one who was like, oh, I wish I'd said that. I can think of funny. I certainly wasn't a class clown.
Right.
But I do remember making my small coterie of friends laugh. But his name was Richard. I remember making him laugh funnily enough, it was Lenny Henry again. It was watching what was it? Is it the Lenny Henry show, or it was like the Delbert Wilkins show, which was Lenny Henry's character who was a pirate radio DJ.
Yeah.
And I'd come in and do the sketches the next day in ways that make me wince to think what I was doing for the voices now. But, with nothing but love in my heart. But I would come in and make him and a couple of other people laugh by recounting the thing I saw, or Not the 9 o'clock news. I had a recording of Not the 9 o'clock news, which of course was topical comedy, and a lot of it was topical satire, and I didn't understand it, but I understood that the rhythms were funny.
Yeah.
So I found humor in it, even if it was only years later. I hear about, I understand what a miners' union is, and I go, that's what that joke was about, So I suppose that to be reductive, it kind of. It was a bit of my life at school that I enjoyed. Yeah. And I felt good and whole doing it. And it makes me sort of think now, the happier I get, the less desperate I am to drive up and down motorways doing gigs.
I like that point you made there about being like the second funniest person in class, because I often talk to people about the competitiveness, the competitive streak, and, being having something to strive for, something to win, to be a winner. Do you have a competitive streak in you?
I don't think so. I'd like to have done, like when I did the comedy competitions getting on for 20 years ago. That's an insane sentence. When I did the competitions, they seemed important. But it's not that I wanted to prove I was best. I just wanted to be recognized as good.
Yeah.
And the best way to be recognized as good is to win.
Yeah.
But recognized as good is to win. But I don't think of myself as a door kicker. Like, I've interviewed certain very high level comics who are people for whom it is absolutely critical to make it and show the world sort of thing. There's loads of variations of that.
Yeah.
So I think of them as door kickers, and I don't think I've ever been a door kicker. I'm not like, I'm going to kick the door down, barge in and go, you make me famous, prick. I'm amazing. And I think that attitude, there's a lot to be said for it. There's a lot to be said for it. And that's not to paint all successful comics with that by any means.
Yeah.
And some of the door kickers are not necessarily successful, but they're still kicking on doors, you know.
Yeah.
It's sort of, there's a blurred line, I suppose, between passion and self-esteem and entitlement. You know, I think we've probably, comics have all run into people where we go, fucking hell, you could probably kick down a few less doors, you know, take a longer hard look at yourself. But then there really is something to be said for just staying in it and slogging and keeping turning up, because at the end of the day, not to get too morbid too early, Mark, but we do die. Like, I've been doing comedy long enough that I can probably tell you the names of 10 or 15 comics I've met and spoken to who are no longer with us.
Yes.
Not all older people, you know. And you only get so many gigs.
Yeah.
So you might as well enjoy them. I don't know how I got onto that, but I suppose that thing of, like, when I think about ambition and competition, I'm much more the sort of person that's like, if I try something and, inverted commas, the world tells me it doesn't work, I go, oh, I suppose I'm not supposed to be doing this. Yeah. Like, I'm not a door kicker at all, except to say, like, I've tried lots of stuff and I just kept going with the stuff I had a bit of a knack for. Yeah. So I don't think of myself as competitive. I see the sorts of people who, it happens less often now, but maybe 8 to 10 years ago with my show, the Comedian's Comedian podcast. Yes. It has a certain reputation within the comedy sphere, within the comedy world. And it is beautifully, Zach Zucker made my year when he told me it's regarded as an international language amongst comedians, that, you know, an American comic can talk to a New Zealander comedian, a Kiwi comic in France, and refer back to the episodes I've had with people. And I'm enormously proud of that, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I lost my place there. I felt that sounded horribly like I left a pause for you to agree with me, which would make me the worst person in the world, Mark. I'm so sorry. What I was actually thinking was, inside my head, I was thinking, oh, fuck, you better have a good point on the end of that, because that was kind of just a naked boast.
In fairness, I was looking for an opportunity to agree with you. So
Thank you. That's very, very kind. Thank you. But you know, I'm so fiercely proud of it being of that show being a good thing in the world, because of what comics can share with each other. So people used to, and this happens less often now, but comedians used to apply to be on the pod. So I've had all sorts of introductions. I've had the whole gamut from, like, here's all my credits, let's talk, to right at the other end. The way to get on it in those days was to sort of say, oh, hey, Stu, I really loved that episode with so-and-so. I thought it was fascinating the way he talked about that. And then leave it there. And after, you know, one of those every 3 months, I'm calling them going, yeah, come on the show. You know what I mean? So it's like, I got to see how people behave, how people operate. So there are door kickers. And I think that if I was to write an email to be on someone's podcast, which I don't know that I have very often, but if I would be one of the people. I wouldn't be one of the, hey, here's my credits. Right. I'd be one of the people going, maybe we could have an interesting conversation about this. Yeah. So I suppose I'm mentioning that because it feeds in. Like, obviously, I must be competitive. I'm a comedian. I want to be the best, but I don't. I love the things I love and cherish and value about comedy are all the wussy stuff about love and the pureness, the pure wonderfulness of a joke making someone laugh, like a nice joke. Even like a victimless joke. If you know the one, there's a joke. I won't do the whole thing, it's too long, but the punchline is the Pope sits back in his chair, puts his feet on the table, lights a cigar and says, you know what? You cunts are all right. That joke, right? There's no victims in that joke. And it is, and when I'm feeling sad in the way that someone else might pick up a guitar, I will think to myself, oh, jokes are good, aren't they? Like, they're a fundamentally good and pure thing. And that's why I'm in it. Yeah. Because not to be the best I can be, to the chagrin of my wife and management. You know, I just love the doingness of it. Yeah. And I love making people laugh, and I love supporting other people who want to make people laugh. And when I started, I naively thought we were all the good guys because we were all comedians. Yeah. And it didn't occur to me that actually some of us are awful predators or hurt, wounded people who are using comedy to shore up things that they need therapy for.
Yeah.
You know, but the sort of what's a strong word? What's a robust word for art and beauty and purity and hope and love and those things? You know what I mean? Something. And the lovely thing about that is because you can't sum those things up. So, you know, it reminds me of what you earn as a comic is to be able to be dismissive about something that you and the comic you're talking to both know is the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
You know, I remember I've told this story, but it's barely a story. I've mentioned this loose anecdote before. But as a street performer, I was a very young green street performer. And I remember sitting in Henry's, which no longer exists, is on Henrietta Street in Covent Garden, with the other performers, having breakfast on a morning after doing the draw for who gets which show, and being green as grass and meeting someone and going, so what's your show? As if they wanted to talk about their show. And they'd go, oh, same old bollocks, you know, because they've earned the right to be dismissive about this magical thing they do.
Yeah.
And it was enormously, I love it that I then, years later, some young, keen Canadian street performer said, so what's your show? And I was like, mate, it's the same old bollocks. And I just like, yes, I've earned this. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I love especially, and I talk about this a lot with comedians, is about the joy they have in the performance. And you clearly, even talking to me now, you've got so much excitement and joy in your voice talking about comedy. And I've seen you many, many times performing comedy. You have that excitement. After, let's be honest, many years performing comedy, do you ever get jaded by it? Do you ever fall back on your laurels, or is it joyful every day?
No, I cannot tell you it's joyful every day. The bits that aren't joyful are when I feel it, I'm being imperfect.
Right.
I didn't make a connection quick enough. I bully myself terribly, really. But it's certainly not joyful every time, but it is always capable of changing. And I've got better and better over the years. That's one of the most important things I've learned, is that don't fucking throw the gig. Don't throw the gig. Stay calm. Are you clutching the microphone, Stuart? That's a tell. Relax your hand on the microphone. Try something else. Change gear. Come on, mate. Don't throw the gig. Did a show last night. The first 10 minutes of it were lumpen, and I did things in the wrong order, and I was like, not deliberately, I was just like, oh, I've forgotten a bit, and I'll go back.
Yeah.
And then it ended beautifully because I didn't tank it, and it took me years not to tank it because I am the opposite of robust. I am mentally as fragile as fuck. I'm a little pathetic butterfly in a storm, and I've got this thing I can do, or this bag of tricks, or this some instinct, some experience, bit of nous, bit of creativity, and I can parcel it up together and do the magic thing somehow.
Yeah.
And sometimes that just feels like smoke, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? What am I doing here?
Yeah.
You know, so I would say, no, they're not all joyful. But there's always the possibility of joy. Joy is the right word. Joy is the word I was probably searching for. Thank you. I think I wonder what the root is between joy and enjoy. I inhabit, I enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, when it's working, I love it. And what I love it for is it just feels right. It feels right. It feels right that everyone's looking at me. It just feels right. Do you know, one of the most lovely democratic ways I heard of someone talk about comedy, I can't remember who this was. It reminds me of Jim Owen's brilliant bit about finding the funniest bit of, there's the funniest place to stand on stage. Have you seen him do that? Like, is it over here? And he goes, is it over here? Or Ruben Solo's amazing graph, where he plots a graph on an A board and he goes, this is time, and this is how funny this bit is. And just follows it's just magic. Things like that made me go, God, it's good that they're in the world, you know. So, but there is, I heard a very lovely democratic way of thinking about comedy, which is that there's some laughter. There's some possibility for laughter in the room, in any room.
Yeah.
And my job is not to get up there and tell them all about me. My job is to sort of just help guide the laughter, just tickle out the laughter. Where is it? It's a bit kind of, you know, Ken Dodd druidic kind of thing. I'm not sure that he said this, but there is a sort of that's quite a nice, somewhere in here, that where is it, you know? Yeah. There's a street performer friend of mine, Microphone, and his act used to be, and I never saw him do this, is before I arrived at Covent Garden. His act used to be apparently a pie. He'd have a custard pie, and he'd say, somewhere out there is the perfect face to put this custard pie in. And the funny thing is, the person who it's going to be already knows it's there. Oh, yeah, baby, yeah. Just that idea of the laughs are there, the comedy's there waiting to, like the statue's already in the stone, you know?
Yes.
The laughs are all already there. You just need to find them. And that's a lovely thing to reflect on when you just bombed. Because you feel like, oh, maybe it wasn't me. You know, my failure there was to fail to find the laughs. The laughs were there and I just couldn't find them. That's okay. We all have bad days. You just couldn't find them. It's a nice way to take yourself out of it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, I suppose, that has, I don't think I've learned that from my podcast. I think I've discovered it about myself, that I really like ways of thinking about things. And I benefit from ways of thinking about things. And I love that I might tell someone a way of thinking about something and they benefit from it. And that's what the podcast is.
Yeah.
When I heard Simon Munnery say, it's not a race, it's a dance. And that kept me going. That made me happy for 3 years. You know, literally 3 years. Every time I felt bad about comedy, I go, oh, it's not a race, it's a dance. And it resonated with me so much because I truly believe it. That's the competition thing. Yeah. You can't win a dance. You know, what's his name? I've got to try not to insult someone, but I can describe, there's lots of, Robert Tank Top. Robert White.
Yeah.
Said to me years ago, comedy competitions are funny, aren't they? It's like, is this egg better than this hammer? Yeah. And he's got such a good comedy brain. I love the different, which is better, an egg or a hammer? Those are the perfect two objects. Like, who's better? You know, Mitch Hedberg or Maria Bamford? Which of them's better? It's nonsense. Yeah. It's nonsense. Yeah. You know, who's better, Ian Cognito or Joel Dommett? Who's better? And I'm doing massive air quotes using my whole hand. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Like it's madness. It's madness, and it's this like, I totally understand it. I used to not like critics, and I used to not like awards, and now I sort of feel fine with both of those things. Oh, that's big of me, but I just feel like, oh, don't make a competition. Stop trying to turn the dance into a race. But if we briefly feel sad for 2 or 3 years while the dance is turned into a race around us just when we're discovering the dance, then maybe the best, inverted commas, dancers will get a nice leg up, and maybe it'll give people something to work for. Bit of structure is not necessarily a bad thing. I don't feel bad about it anymore, but let's leave the dance period. Let's leave the race period and get back into dancing as soon as we can.
Yeah. You've mentioned many great comedians there. I mean, do you?
Yes, lots of men. I'm going to own that. Lots of them were men there. I can only apologize. There's also, of course, fabulous and inspiring female comics.
Do you still watch comedy as an entertainment? Can you sit back and relax and absorb it? Or do you have a critical comedian's eye now?
It's easier if I've already had them on my podcast, because I'm not trying to mentally make notes.
Right.
And a lot of the time, the shows that I see, the live shows that I see, when I go to Edinburgh, I have to prioritize people who I've not already had on my podcast. So I think I'll get there and I'll try and hit the ground running and try and see as many people who I've heard are good, or who I've seen, or I've heard a rumor about, or I'm like, oh, interesting idea, or sometimes just a title that I'm like, that displays a comedy mind. And I'll try and see as many of those as I can. Yeah. It feels like homework. I have ADHD. I hate to sit still. I would much rather. Do you know what my favorite gig is as of this year? I went to see Fast Fringe. I've done it before, but you're in the wings and stuff. Fast Fringe. If you have ADHD, holy God, I don't know how many, 12 comics doing 3 minutes? Yeah. Jesus, it's brilliant. And you go, oh, that's who you are. Oh, you're that. Or, you know, maybe not your best gig, but that, oh, you do that. Great. Nom, 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 nom. I find it so hard to sit still and pay attention, which is why when you see, God, who did I see the year before last? Kemah Bob, like Edinburgh before last. Yeah. It flew by. That is the kindest thing. That is the best compliment I can pay any show. It flew by. I was so invested. I wasn't biting my nails and fiddling and trying to find chewing gum in my bag and sitting and fidgeting and stuff. I struggle so much. I also struggle to sit down and watch a special. I cannot tell you the last time I sat in a chair and watched a special on TV, or probably it was Bo Burnham's Inside during COVID was the last time I sat down and watched a special. Yeah. I have to listen to them as I walk around. I have to break them up into little chunks. I have to listen to them as I drive somewhere because otherwise I just fidget. I can't bear it. It makes my skin want to climb off. And what was the question? I got into a waylaid.
Watching.
Do I watch comedy?
Yeah.
Yes. So do I watch it for fun? Yes, I do. I've just discovered, if you're on Instagram, Maybach Diamonds. His real name's Joe something, I think. He wears a balaclava and does stand up in the street outside the White House, making fun of the army and making them laugh. Mwah. So great. So stuff like that, I'll go, lovely. I don't want to be too subordinate to the way we all watch comedy now, which is, so I did the show I did last night was the Graham Norton TV show Warm Up. I've been in studio Warm Up for years and years.
Yes.
And someone in the audience, I said, has anyone here never seen the show? And some guy said, yeah, right in the back. I said, have you never seen it? He said, well, I've seen it on Instagram. I was like, wow, you realize it's longer than 90 minutes, right? But that's the way it's all going. Attention span is all going that direction. I'm not proud of that. I don't want to be part of that, but I'm absolutely part of that. So I do still watch comedy. It's got to be so good. I think for me,
yeah,
it has to. I've drunk very deeply in the world of stand-up, and I have. For context here, I mentioned the podcast. I think I'm known in terms of comedy interviewers. I really do my research. If I've got someone big on or someone small, I want to have seen or heard 2 of their hours.
Yeah,
I really want to have read all of their reviews that I can get my hands on. You know what I mean? Like I sometimes overdo it. I'm trying not to overdo it now. So I've seen and heard a lot, often with an eye of like, get into the guts of this. What's this? Best thing is if I'm watching something else, not really thinking about the podcast. If I see a debut and I'm thinking this will be nice to see, but I'm not going to get them on for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And so I'm in the right headspace to then be surprised by someone being brilliant. And I can just go, oh my God, yes, I'll break the rules for you. This is wonderful. Abby Wambach's show blew my ears back. It was great.
Amazing. Yeah.
So I definitely still love comedy, but comedy, which I'm not going to call it hackery. I don't mean hackery. As comics, as you know, are good at knowing where an idea goes. And I'm a crap audience member sometimes because I'll laugh at the setup, not because I'm trying to be a wanker or show off or anything. It just makes me laugh at the wrong time. Yeah. Because I'm like, oh, that's going to be clever. And then I knew that would happen. And so I laugh at the wrong time. Which is why I love Matt Ewins, because he's faster than me. His rug pulls are faster. What was his joke about? So today would have been my brother's birthday if he'd been born on the 7th of August. But he is dead. He is still dead. Do you know what I mean? To me, I'm like, boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? It's like, it's Wing Chun. It's too fast, So stuff that isn't fast enough, stuff that I can see coming a mile off. Yeah. Stuff that I feel I've seen. Oh, you've seen someone else make these discoveries, and now you're pretending to make these discoveries. Yeah. I can't. I really struggle to watch that, and I won't watch that. Yeah. So yes, I do still watch comedy, but it's got to be pretty good now to really interest me. And that's one of the lovely things. I mean, to briefly burnish my own trumpet, if not toot it, do these days sometimes if I see a debut and I come out, I try not to be ostentatious, always sit and hide at the back and what have you. But sometimes, such is the stature of my podcast, sometimes people will be thrilled that I've gone. And that's lovely. That makes me feel very appreciated, and it makes me feel like the podcast is cherished in ways that I know it is, but it's lovely to see that. Yeah. I really love that. Why did I bring that up? Just to show off. I just love it. If I go and see someone and they get a very new act goes, oh God, thanks for coming. Yeah. Because they're invested somehow in the podcast. I really love that. And so I suppose, and I tell you a thing that does happen, which I don't love. I thought I would love this, but I don't. I've got quite a recognizable laugh. And sometimes people will spot that I'm in and do a little joke. They'll do, Goldsmith's in there, or whatever it is. And those are warm, and I know they have the best of intentions, but comics often overestimate how famous I am. I'm not remotely famous. My podcast is well known within comedy, and that's it. I get my voice gets recognised on a bus once a month, and it's perfect. I love that level. But if a comic goes, "Oh, Goldsmith's in," no one will know what the fuck they're talking about, and I'll crumble in the back of the like. Do you know what I mean? As if it's like, I hope they don't feel like they've got to sort of, just tag the fact that Stu's. You know what I mean? Like you don't. Anyone listening to this, you don't have to do that. So I'm a bit, and I involuntarily clap. You know what I mean? Not several times, but like I'll laugh and go, God, it's just not. I swear on my life, I'm not doing it to show off. It's not fulfilling some social function. It's just I'm just big in my reactions. I just like it. So the experience of watching comedy is fun and complicated and largely full of joy.
Yeah. You did an interview with The Guardian, I think, last year. And part of that, I inferred that it might be a question in your mind, perhaps, that people who are guests of the podcast might not be as passionate or engaged or invested as you are. The emotional heft of their comedy might not be the way that you perceive it, and they might sort of say, "I'm only joking, it's just gags." Is that a legitimate?
I don't remember speaking to The Guardian last. I don't know what you're talking about.
On The Guardian's website, I think, still available.
Oh, I mean, it might be from. Could it be from 10 years ago?
It was published last year. It might have been a republish. I don't know.
Forgive me, Mark, when I Google myself. The podcast that gets inside funny people's heads. Is it that one? That is more than 9 years old. Mm. Oh, it's a nice article. I've not looked at this in ages. It's got. So what's the thing that I'm? Oh, my fear is. Oh, yes, I see what you mean. Oh, so I'm going to read this out for the benefit of the listener. Where next for his podcast? I feel like it's my life's mission to do the perfect Simon Munnery interview. Yes, I keep putting it off because I don't know if I'm good enough yet. I did do it, dear listener, 50 or 60 episodes later, and it's a banger. Goldsmith is having contributed to the elevation of stand-up to something you can pore over without looking like a nerdy killjoy. I don't know if I'm guilty of that. Goldsmith is left with the anxiety that his comedy heroes might not be quite so involved. My fear is that he'd go, that was specifically about Munnery. Right. I'm obsessed with Simon Munnery. I used to see him three or four times a year at Edinburgh before I was a comic, when I was a street performer. Right. And I'd just see him, do these enormously ambitious technological shows that would collapse and fall apart and stuff. And he's just so funny. All men are brothers, hence war. Do you know what I mean? God, he's just got a comedy mind that I'm so in awe of. And I think that is a little probably Goldsmith said, my fear is that he'd go, oh, it's just a joke. And I'd say, no, it isn't. It's far more than that. I think that was a glib thing I said at the time. I suppose, I don't know why I said that. And I don't know that anything I can say about it represents good content. I suppose, this is 10 years ago, man. So I don't really worry anymore about how comedians think about comedy. I'm interested, but I don't worry about it. I don't have any fears about it. The whole way I feel about comedy, like I was saying, so many of us have turned out to be awful people. Or even better, more specifically than that. There is a defense you often hear of shock comedy, which is that, but if the audience are laughing, I've got them, haven't I? I've proved it. Do you know what I mean? If I say an offensive joke about trans people and the audience laugh and then go quiet because they realize it's bad, I win. And I fucking hate that. Yeah. It's not true. It doesn't matter. I can laugh at something, I can laugh at something awful because I can appreciate the bits fitting together in a surprising way. But a joke, it's surprising yet satisfying. The satisfying element of that doesn't need to be, I agree with the sentiment. Yeah. It can simply be, it makes sense. That is satisfying structurally, because that is a thing that people say about trans people or any minority or whatever. So it's still surprising yet satisfying. You haven't proved that I'm secretly anti-trans because I laughed at something horrible. So that defense really, I don't know how I got into this. That defense really annoys me because, so the point is, comedy is amoral. For as much as I'm thinking comedy can be joyful and perfect, of course it can, but you can laugh at horrible shit and then feel bad, and you should. Yeah. You know what I mean? The fact that you laugh doesn't prove anything either way. So the mechanics of comedy are amoral. But the wonderful thing about comedy is like art. You can paint a picture that makes everyone go, God, that reminds me of my childhood. Oh my God, lovely. Or you can paint a picture of someone kicking an innocent person to death. And that will make a person feel something. So what are you proving? Do you know what I mean? It's like the best of it. Comedy is not perfect and pure and wonderful. It's an opportunity for something to be perfect and pure and wonderful.
Yeah.
And that can be misused. I don't know. Any of these answers, I don't know if any of these are technically answers. They're just kind of little jumping off points for pontification.
Well, I mean, as you said before, you did street theatre, you've circus school and many years of stand-up. Do you think there's one single lesson that you've learned, or something that informs what you do going forward, something that you carry with you as a philosophy, if you like?
I mean, if there's one single question I learned in 10 years of different types of performance, it'd be hard for me now to think of it. I mean, so many things. Specifically from life before comedy, I suppose be brave, probably. Yeah. I'm quite pleased with that. That's not an answer I think I've given before. I think that street performance doesn't exist unless you're brave enough to make it exist. Doesn't mean it's good. Doesn't mean you're good or worthwhile or that you should be doing it. But it cannot happen without you being brave. And that is quite an important object lesson in doing things. No one becomes a comic without thinking first, I could do that. Yeah. It's a bit scary, but I think I'll try. Yeah. And I think that without learning that being brave it can be rewarded with, momentum. Yeah. I think without that, I don't know if I would ever have tried stand up because I was so scared. It's not even scared. It just didn't seem possible for me. And being brave over and over again, doing good street shows and bad street shows and hacky street shows and wildly creative street shows just taught me that if you're brave and you keep turning up, then you create momentum and something happens. Yeah. And that is a really easy, it's sort of like a life hack. You know what I mean? If you just keep turning up, eventually you'll do it, won't you? It doesn't sound that wise. I don't think I could sell that as a sort of 12-episode webinar masterworks course. But if you keep turning up to the course, but it is pretty real. It is pretty real, and I do think it's funny. All of those, it's just been spec submitted. Someone submitted speculatively to the pod who is like a colossally famous comedy director of yesteryear. And they offer a course. And it was funny looking at the blurb and going, do I want this person? Of course I would like to talk about the thing they did. They'll have been interviewed to death, fine. But maybe I can find an interesting angle or a way in. And then I sort of saw that they're selling a course. And it's just that it doesn't matter. But I don't have strong feelings either way. But I do think a lot of, the circles in which I now move, I suppose, with the climate comedy that I do now, which I often do in a business context of one sort or another. And it's very, I'm an entrepreneurial person that's got one and has had previously other podcasts and created live stuff online during the pandemic. You know what I mean? That kind of like, oh, the world is my oyster all over again in a different way kind of people. That momentum, keep turning up, try things. Keep turning up and just try. Just fucking try things. My brother came up to Edinburgh a few years ago and went, oh, I get it. It's a trying things festival. Got it in one. That's what it is. Absolutely. And stand-up is a trying things career. It really is. I think the point I'm trying to make is that lots of people offer courses and they direct stand-up and there are brilliant directors. I work a lot with Dec Munro, who I think is absolutely brilliant. But he has the lightness of touch to try and help me be better at making what I want to make. Whereas I worry that I wouldn't be a good director because I worry that I'd go, you should do this. That would be good. I think that would be good. I think it's easy to direct badly, and to teach people, like, how can you ever say to someone, don't do that, because maybe they're about to discover the best comedy that's never been done before. So how could you ever go, don't do that? And so you shouldn't as a good teacher go, don't do that. You should just let them be themselves more, you know? And I think that, what was I talking about? Courses. I think that any kind of book or webinar series or podcast is really it's just a language, isn't it? It's just a language to try and get the ness of something across to someone.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to mount here is a defense of the efficacy or the worth of the advice being just turn up, or the advice being be brave, the advice being try things. Those things are so easily said.
Yeah.
But the reality is you're standing there outside the comedy club thinking, shall I pop in and ask if they could possibly put me on and reveal that I'm new and nervous and I haven't got 2 minutes to rub together and I don't even know how this works, and is this a good club, and am I go, maybe I'll just go home. That's the bit when you need to hear, no, just be brave, try things. That's the stuff, and that can make a lifetime's worth of difference to your life. But, you know, so there's all this, you know, from fucking, what's his name? But is it Stephen Bartlett, or is that the president from the West Wing? One of them, you know, so with like big life-changing podcasts, you know, people selling or offering for free useful information. All it really is just the bit where you're thinking, shall I? Yeah, you shall. You know?
Yeah.
So it's funny, isn't it? Like my podcast, which for years and years has kind of fortified me and made my own mental health robust and made my process more honest and true and exciting and varied and all those kind of things for me.
Yeah.
It really is just a series of iterations of this idea of like, what is that? What's the thing? What did you do? What did you not do? How did it serve you? How didn't it? What could you say to a younger you that would help, that would have saved time, given that we all have a finite number of gigs? What could you have said? And can we say that or express that in a way that someone listening goes, oh, yes, help.
Yeah.
Like a rope to a drowning person, you know?
Yeah.
I love that.
Given all of that, where are you at your happiest? Your podcast, you famously ask a comedian if they are happy. I ask you where you are happiest.
Oh, your question is so much more nuanced than mine. Where am I at my happiest? At the moment, I had a lovely run at the Monkey Barrel at the Edinburgh Festival, just gone. Just a week, work in progress, slightly cheating work in progress. It was pretty ready, but the point of it was to be now going, right, I've got that. Is that it? Is that the thing I want to do? Are those bits of it all the right bits? Are some bits of it a fudge? Is there a fucking great 20 in there and I need to write a fucking great 40? Those kind of questions.
Yeah.
I like that bit of, I hate and fear and love that bit of the process.
Yes.
I love the bit where you're in July and the show's coming up and you've got some really good gear and you're tweaking and you're discovering that actually, oh God, yeah, if I do that, if I split that and put it at the top and the bottom rather than in the middle, breathes life into the whole thing. I'm no longer scared that I've got nothing.
Yeah.
And now I feel like, how can this be the best thing that it is? I love that bit. I will say twice recently in the last year, I've had moments where I have achieved the holy grail. I have stood on stage and said 4 or 5 minutes worth of stuff I've never said before. And I've come off and I've gone, where's the fucking recording? Get that down. I've just written 4 new minutes. That feeling, the feeling afterwards is nice, but the being on stage doing it, the putting out the, Roadrunner putting the tracks out as you go along the tracks, that is the sort of most exquisite. That's the most ecstatic performance mode.
Yeah.
Realizing something. There's a guy in an audience once. I said, I'm going to guess your job. Military bearing, probably a brigadier. And he was like, what? And he was a brigadier. Actually, specifically a brigadier. I love the snap. I love the, magicians call it cold reading, where you just get so good at like, who's this guy? You're in a band and you sell weed for a living. And they're like, fucking what? Yeah. There was a guy who was a magician. No, there was a guy who worked at an escape room. And I said, you're a magician, right? And he went, whoa. And I was like, well, he said, it would be useful for me to know as a magician how you can tell I'm a magician. And I was like, you've well put together, like you've learnt skincare from a blog. And he was like, fucking stop. You know what I mean? It's not just the cold reading bit. It's the bit where you're connected to the thing. You're like, I see it. Like the detective going, fuck, it's them. They're the killer, and that moment happens in conversation with people. Where they say a thing. God, I was chatting to a friend of mine who's a comic, and he'd just done a brilliant show, and we were sat shooting the shit afterwards in a way that I don't get to do often anymore. There were some younger comics there, and me and him were kind of just, reminiscing about various aspects of our careers, his infinitely more glittering than mine. And there was just I can't even remember what it was, but there was a vague thing. Like I did a sort of social, this will make anyone cringe who's not a comic, and anyone who's a comic, they'll hate it as well. But when you apply tricks that the stuff that's in the bone from 2 decades of doing comedy, and you apply it to a social, live, in the moment conversational thing, and you just score an ultra goal. And everyone's pissing themselves, I think of it. I described it to a mate, like I mentioned Wing Chun earlier on, and I don't do Wing Chun. All I know about it is a cool thing in Hollywood movies where you go pat 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 pat. It's like when the thing magically is there, and you just say the thing, and you didn't know you were going to say the thing, and you say it, and you feel connected to the infinite. Like, but it was that. That was the perfect thing. Everyone's in bits. Wish I was better at doing that under pressure. God, I could have been good on Mock the Week. Do you know what I mean? I'm only good at that in certain circumstances, and the rest of the time, Mock the Week type, panel game environments often to me feel like school, and they feel competitive. And if everyone's like, go on, say the funny thing now, can't do it. Just, and people are brilliant at doing that. And I wish I'd been able to develop that skill set. And but on my stage, I can do that. And that's probably where I'm happiest. That's the most ecstatic bit. And then where I'm creatively happiest, so on stage, that's the happiest. Creatively happiest when the stuff is there and I'm tweaking it, or when something falls into your head and you go, oh, fuck, that's a bit. Either there's a bit in there or holy shit, I've solved that bit. And then planning. I'm very happy having ideas for planning things. And my fixation at the moment is doing comedy about the climate crisis, because comedy's too easy, Mark. Why don't we give ourselves something to fucking challenge us? I love both the putting on of the lead weights of the self-appointed mission to make something frightening and complicated less so, and be funny whilst making a fucking good point that makes people feel good and not shamed. That makes them feel angry and hopeful. I mean, what a fucking mission this is, I want to do a show about the climate. I've got 2 shows about the climate, and I'm working towards a kind of ultra show. And I want that show to be the sort of thing that people can say, oh, so their mate goes, fucking hell, fell down a bit of a rabbit hole on YouTube and I'm shitting myself about the climate crisis. I want people to go, oh, you should see this. I'll send you a link. And it'll make them feel better and educate them and make them feel angry and make them feel hopeful and activated. That's the job now. Because what am I going to do? Piss about getting laughs and, oh, give me some lovely laughs. Oh, the ecstasy. This is nice, isn't it? Come on, mate. I've done that. I mean, no, not wall to wall, but I've experienced it and I'm bored and I want the next thing. So that's where I'm happiest now, is going, how can I create a joke that is so good that it changes people's behavior, not because I'm admonishing them. I'll give you an example. I used to put food waste casually in the bin.
Right.
And I learned that the reason we put food waste in the food waste bin is because if it goes in the black bin, it ends up in landfill and it releases methane. That's a very potent greenhouse gas. But if it goes in the food waste bin, where I live in Bristol, it goes to Avonmouth. It goes in an anaerobic digester. It gets turned into biomethane and burnt for relatively very clean fuel. And now I put food waste in the food waste bin, not because Big Brother lorry driver has gone, oh, I'm not taking that, not because I've been told off or punished, but because I understand it.
Yes.
I'm like, well, it's obvious. It's just the obvious thing to do. It'd be stupid not to. It's like, don't light a cigarette at a pub, you fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Of course, obvious. And if I can write a joke about that communicates all of that in a less teachery way than I just told you the bits now, if I can write a joke about that, and everyone thinks of that in the same way as whenever I get out of a taxi, I think of Hannibal Buress's bit about getting out of a taxi. Then that can fucking help. Yeah. And that's what I'm happy developing and devising that idea.
Yeah. I like what you said about a while ago about putting together a show.
I can just imagine the AI transcript of subject headings for this, like then that. Oh, sorry. I said a while ago.
You said a while ago about pre-Edinburgh, putting together a show, putting the bits together. This is why one of the things I love, and I saw spoilers in the Leicester Comedy Festival when it won Best New Show, and then I saw it again at Top Secret a few months later, and then I saw it again at Edinburgh that year because I saw it.
I knew there was a reason I'd agreed to come on your podcast. Thank you, Mark. That's very diligent and very satisfying to hear.
But you get to see the tweaks and the small changes and a little bit of, as it changes over the course of the year. Although, admittedly, it was already Best New Show. It was a show. You had the show.
Thank you, mate.
But you teased it and tweaked it a little bit. And it's nice to see those changes. But also, as you say, it's a climate show. You are the climate comedian.
I'm a climate comedian.
Well,
I'm a climate comedian. Matt Winning is much more climate than I am. And he got there first and he inspired me. And I'm very grateful to Matt Winning. And his show this year was absolutely brilliant. And it's going to be on at Soho Theatre. So people should go see that. I just want to flag that.
Fair.
I'm a climate comedian. I'd never call myself the climate comedian.
As a climate comedian, are you happy to be thought of, though, as a climate comedian? Or is it a comedian first and then someone who talks about the climate as part of their subject?
It doesn't matter to me, really. There is a branding question. There's a marketing question about that. I feel like if I had to pay any dues to call myself whatever I want, then I've paid them.
Yeah.
I've done enough road miles. I've done enough stage hours, and I've given enough back to the pot. I've given enough back to comedy. The podcast has given enough. I've paid whatever dues, and I can do whatever the fuck I want now. That's how I feel in terms of the comedy industry. I am wrestling. I'm supposed to have finished wrestling with the question of whether to change my Instagram to @ClimateComedian. And I'm going to do it by close of play today. I am reticent to do it because I think it's a good business decision. It's a good business decision. And it is all I want to do. It's one of those things in life where you go, what are my plans? What will I be? What will I be? Well, all right, mate, just stop a second and look back and find out who you actually are. What decisions have you made? It's all I want to talk about.
Yeah.
It may not remain all I want to talk about. Show 5 might be like, here we fucking go. Nothing's changed and this is too depressing. But then that's quite a good problem. That could be funny, couldn't it? So I think I want to do that. But it feels weird to me to go, when you look for me online, you don't on Instagram, you don't find Stuart Goldsmith. You do, because that will still be linked to it.
Yeah.
But you find @ClimateComedian. That feels... I worry it's a bit like having your web address on your T-shirt. It's a bit like, oh, come on, mate. But this is the question. I also think it's a fucking good idea.
Yeah.
And if I saw someone called Climate Comedian do a thing, it just came off my feed, I'll follow them. I want to hear about that. That's intriguing. And I think that will be good. The reality is I'll shed 20% of my followers because there will be people following me casually who, when they see that, they'll go, oh, why am I following that? There'll be a load of Republicans in America who love my British Sign Language joke because it has things in common with gaming and the military. And they've got, I like that.
Yeah.
And they'll go, I didn't follow that. Fuck this guy. So I'll lose a load of followers.
Yeah.
But I would rather have fewer followers who want what I do. And inescapably, this is what I do now. And it just feels streamlined.
Yeah.
So I've answered a very specific question because there's like I decided in a meeting yesterday, yes, I'm doing it. And then I came out of it. My next call is me with my socials guy going, fuck, let's do it. And I can always change it back. That'll look weird, but I suppose if it's unsuccessful, then no one notices it didn't work.
Yeah.
It feels like a sensible next thing to do. There's a book called Does It Make the Boat Go Faster? Co-written by a friend of mine, Harriet Beveridge, who's also a comic. I haven't read it. Sorry, Harriet, but I've read the back of the book and I get the concept. You work out what the boat is and you make the boat go fucking faster. And I have a piece of paper in my eyeline now that says the boat. And I worked out what the boat was. And I'll read it to you. My job is to write, perform and record hopeful and useful jokes about the climate and upload them to build an audience who will then follow me and book me for live events. Right, gigs and, tours and everything else. That's my job. That's the boat. And will calling myself climate comedian make the boat go faster? I think it will. So I'm going to do it. And as you can tell, I am a confetti cannon of a human being. And I have so many options and so many possibilities, so many privileges and so many ideas that I'm exhausting myself trying to do all of them all the time. Yeah. But this one feels like the right one. So that's the boat. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do for now.
I have one more question, the most important question. But before I do that, very quickly, how can people find out about you and where they can come and see you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Climate Comedian. Oh, that was a thrill. First time I said that.
There you go.
Or you can find me at stuartgoldsmith.com. Climatecomedian.com will also go there. Don't know if I'm quite ready to just go climate. You know what I mean? I'm fucking legit, guys. I'm a comic. So there is, it's an ongoing thing, but you can find me if you are a sustainability person who works in business and you'd like to book me to come and make your climate event feel less like a health and safety briefing, then by all means follow me on LinkedIn.
We haven't had time to talk about so many things.
You didn't even laugh at that.
No.
I thought that made you laugh because it's so disgusting for a comedian to be counting LinkedIn.
I'm just going to let it go. We've had so little time to talk about so many things I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about much more about your podcast, about your infinite sofa, about your epic win at the Comedians Beer Mat Flipping Championship.
Fuck, that was good. What a moment. And I've got it on slow-mo video and I absolutely loved it. It was great. And I'll tell you what, Stu Law's got in touch with me. And said, can we have the trophy back? We're doing it again. And I don't follow sport. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean, can you have the trophy back? Like, it's one of my proudest things. And he relented and said, all right, I'll get another trophy.
So I have to ask you my final question in line with the title of the show, of course. Stuart, how would you sum up comedy in a nutshell?
The possibility of joy.
Beautifully put. Stuart, thank you so much for being my guest. It's been an absolute joy, of course.
Oh, mate, my pleasure.